The highly contagious Delta variant is pushing hospitals to the brink. The U.S. recording more than 140,000 new infections 2 days in a row for the first time since January. The summer surge is overwhelming doctors and nurses. Tonight, we're getting a dramatic look inside an overwhelmed COVID ward in a hard-hit corner of our country.
The highest case total on consecutive days since January. Daily average cases up 930% from mid-June.
Even everyone got vaccinated today, this surge would go on as it is right now for the next 4 to 6 weeks.
The South particularly hard hit. The 8 states with the highest case rates all in the region. The Houston area out of hospital beds with a 600-person wait list to receive one. Days after the CDC recommended booster shots for the immunocompromised, health officials evaluating making boosters eligible to other vulnerable populations, like the elderly and healthcare workers.
They may need ultimately to get an additional shot.
As states combat a rise in COVID-19 cases from the Delta variant, Houston Methodist Hospital reported its first case of the Lambda variant.
Tonight, a CDC panel now saying there's a likely association between a rare heart condition and vaccinated young adults. More than 1,200 cases of myocarditis and pericarditis are being investigated, about 500 of them in people under 30 who received the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine. The condition primarily coming after the second dose, seen mostly in young men. For both vaccines, the CDC reports fewer than 13 heart inflammation cases per million doses.
Many countries stopped using these 2 vaccines.
The clot risks were linked to 2 vaccines, AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson.
Now, a senior official at the European Medicines Agency has said there is a link between the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine and blood clots. Last week, Germany suspended routine use of the vaccine in people under 60 years of age. That was after 9 people who had received the vaccine died from rare blood clotting.
The CDC is going to be holding an emergency meeting next week to talk about higher than expected cases of heart inflammation in 16 to 24-year-olds following doses of Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. Scientists had been expecting somewhere between 10 and 102 cases of the rare disease.
Look, it's definitely a signal, and it needs to be investigated by the FDA and the CDC. At this point, there does seem to be a clustering of cases around 6 to 24. About 8.8% of all the people who've received the vaccine are between those ages, and about 53% of the reports of pericarditis, myocarditis that the FDA has received have been in that age group. So there does appear to be a clustering of cases in that age group. You know, with the cases that we saw with the J&J vaccine, the AstraZeneca vaccine, that was what we believed to be an autoimmune effect. So the vaccine itself was triggering some kind of immune-mediated reaction that was causing those clotting disorders. It was causing destruction of platelets.
Meanwhile, here's a question that is getting bigger by the day. Are Chinese vaccines failing? Beijing may not accept it. The World Health Organization may not accept it. Even the countries receiving Chinese shots may not accept it due to diplomatic restraints. But the failing efficacy of made-in-China shots is too obvious to ignore. In Indonesia, doctors who received Sinovac have become patients. Hundreds of them have tested positive despite full vaccination, and tens of them have lost their lives. And then we have countries like the Seychelles, Bahrain and Mongolia, where the infections are rising despite half of their populations being fully vaccinated. All these countries mostly relied on Chinese vaccines, and now they're being forced to ask some serious questions. Some of them should be directed at the World Health Organization too. Our next report tells you why.
Indonesia is battling a resurgent virus. The Delta variant has triggered a crisis. The caseload has skyrocketed. The death toll is soaring. And the failing efficacy of a certain vaccine has triggered outrage.
SAPRA is evaluating the medical records of 28 people who died after taking the COVID-19 vaccine. 24 of them had taken the Pfizer jab. The authority has received over 3,700 reports of adverse effects.
At least 20 doctors have died despite being fully vaccinated with Sinovac. 10 of them died this month. And 31 other cases of doctor deaths are being investigated. Indonesia's health workers are alarmed. Around 90% of Indonesian doctors 160,000 in total have been vaccinated with the Chinese shot. Most of them are ending up sick. In the town of Kudus, 358 medical workers have tested positive in a 2-week span.
One can see the burning pyres of people who are being cremated as the death toll here surges. The numbers of people being infected are surging. Every indication from scientific analysis is that all of the numbers on people being infected, and indeed even the death toll, may be woefully inadequate, woefully low, that the real situation is even worse. And it'd be hard to imagine how it could get worse when one sees on the street vehicles parked up next to oxygen bottles with hoses being fed in through the window, to people languishing on the back seats of vehicles because there aren't enough beds for them in hospital, people gasping their last breaths in hospital car parks because there's not enough oxygen to supply them, and mourners being unable to attend in any significant numbers the cremation of their loved ones because there are so many cremations in football pitch size locations, just bonfire after bonfire of somebody's loved one passing on to the next level in their existence. So
the TGA is investigating whether the deaths of 2 New South Wales men are linked to the AstraZeneca vaccine.
There is now heightened concern after reports came out 29 elderly people died after receiving Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine in Norway.
COVID-19 vaccines may pose a risk for the very old and terminally ill. That's after it reported 29 deaths linked to the jabs by Pfizer-BioNTech. Authorities explained that the deaths are related to elderly people with underlying health conditions. Thailand says that it won't rush a vaccine rollout until the vaccines are proven to be completely safe.
Only 11 spoke with a local woman who says she lost feeling in much of her body just hours after getting Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine.
A perfectly healthy 33-year-old mother is basically paralyzed from the chest down just hours after getting the Pfizer vaccine.
And in Orange County, an X-ray technician has died after getting his second dose of the Pfizer vaccine. According to the OC Register, 60-year-old Tim Cook had an adverse reaction within just hours of getting that second shot, and he died within a matter of days.
New at midday, at least 2 people in Clark County have died after being fully vaccinated against COVID. Southern Nevada Health District adds 23 people have been hospitalized. Now, the county calls these cases breakthrough cases, which refers to people who are fully vaccinated but still get the virus. As of last week, it's identified 141 breakthrough cases. The health department says it expects to see more cases like these. And you can read the health department's full report on our website. Just head over to ktnv.com.